Good day. My name is Constantine Ioannou, and it's nice to meet you here through the digital world to talk about programs that we're so used to dealing with in person. And considering how the world is today, we're all getting adjusted on how to make better use of technology in order to spread the word about programs that we're passionate about. So, I am a former language teacher and educator of language programs. I specialized in English as a second language. I taught German, Spanish, and some French, as well as I studied various Scandinavian languages, and my mother tongue is Greek. I went to school on Saturday mornings, which I think is a very Canadian, or rather North American tradition for students to go and keep up their heritage language on Saturday mornings or Sundays in some cases, after school evenings, and became very passionate about language learning and teaching, and probably reflected differently now as an adult and as an educator of languages on the program, from when I had been a child going to it. And so I come to you today representing actually ILEA, International Language Educators Association of Ontario. And you can see that our website is ilea.ca. It's an association that's mostly voluntary, and it represents different school districts across the province of Ontario to talk about international language programs. Um, I also wanted to mention that beyond being a language educator, and right now I mostly work in teacher training and coordinating various projects in language learning or international projects with overseas partners here in Ottawa, the capital of Canada. Um, we've been very much involved in other kinds of facets at the university level, as well as working with various associations in intercultural programs and so forth. So I work for the Ottawa Carleton District School Board. However, I'm coming to you as executive director of this association called ILEA. I first wanted to explain a little bit, knowing that many of you are not from Canada, that education in Canada is a provincial matter. That is, that the provinces run their own education system. Granted, there are many mechanisms in place for sharing across provinces, but each province is supposed to look after education on their own and has their own ministry of education. Having said that, international language programs have had some kind of additional support in our history from the federal government in the area of citizenship, culture, immigration, and so on. But again, the idea of education is a provincial matter. Having said that, again, I need to review with you a couple of different things that are a little bit different from other parts of the world that we do in Canada, and more specifically in the province of Ontario, which certainly has the largest amount of diversity in languages within this province, as well as a different history in the provision of these programs. Contrary to what many of you are facing, our programs are under the school system. So in the early days, communities used to find church basements or mosques or synagogues or community centers or anywhere where they could gather, usually on the weekend, in order to have instruction in their heritage language and to keep that language alive. That's something that certainly has been promoted over the years. And some of that will still happen in parts of Canada, but in this province of Ontario, and in some lesser ways in other provinces, we have funding that is secured from our Ministry of Education. And I'm going to actually show you a little bit. As you know, our website is ilea.ca for the association that looks at promoting, advocating, as well as instilling good practices in language teaching and learning. We also have our Twitter address, which is ILEA Ontario, ILEA Ontario on Twitter. But I wanted to show you a little bit about the history of the program in this province. I won't go through all the dates there since our clip time will be very short today, but I wanted to emphasize that the program has been available with funding from school systems coming from the provincial government since the 70s, with it being mandated from 1989. The mandate means that and it started with 25 students and it's been lowered ever since, that if a community approaches a school district and asks for a program other than English and French, which are our official languages, but a program in an international language, or at that time it was called Heritage, to be provided, the school board had to offer the program. In working in partnership with the community and working as very solid partners, the instructors hired for the program were paid for by the community, the space by the school board, sorry. The space was provided, as well as additional materials. The community could certainly be a partner by providing additional resources as well, but basically staff were employed by the school district. The program was changed in the early 90s to the name International Languages from Heritage Languages in order to reflect that not everyone of that heritage necessarily is going to be in these programs. For example, we may have students who have an interest in a certain language that is not connected in any way to their background. And of course, in order to be truly inclusive, they are also welcome into the program. And that was pretty much the main reason why we changed the name from Heritage to International. There are some dates there provided to you. Our Ministry of Education for the elementary division gives us a resource guide that was last updated in 2012 that basically outlines what school districts are to do in the program, the role of the community, and so forth. The communities are to be solid partners in the program. However, of course, as the instructors are paid by the school district, the school board is responsible and has the final say on matters related to the program, as well as giving support in service training and so on to instructors in the program as well. So if you were to look up ILE Resource Guide Ontario, you'd be able to find the resource that we follow in order to operate a solid program. As well, within this resource, it's not just the administration of the program, but we have many things in the program in order to give teachers an idea on how to teach, how to do assessment and evaluation, and so forth. The idea is that these programs are to mirror the kinds of approach and strategies that we are welcoming students with in our classrooms Monday to Friday. And so that if they are taking a program after school, evening, weekend, that we want to make sure that they see some very similar approaches. Many school boards, in fact, have a report card that goes to the school of the student during the week in order for them to have their program recognized. I won't go into too many details, but that gives you a quick idea of what to do. At the secondary level, students are able to get 3 high school credits for an international language. The curriculum document we go by is the classical studies and international languages. I will also say that as of the last couple of years, international language programs in school boards are now called international and Indigenous, as we've been trying to prioritize a lot more focus on our Indigenous languages and making sure that there was much more availability for students to learn or maintain Indigenous languages within our communities. ILEA, the Association ILEA, which again represents many school districts, but also has membership from exchange organizations, other universities, faculties of education, consulates, embassies, anyone that's really passionate about promoting the learning of languages. Try to encompass a way to promote the program by looking at 4 pillars. And many of our programs look at these 4 pillars in promoting the importance of language learning to students and within our communities. Language learner support. We do know from the research that first language assists English as a second language learners, or in our case, sometimes French as a second language learners, or both English and French language learners. So we do know that first language is important for their academic success. Identity, in order for us to really reflect an inclusive society, our classrooms need to also demonstrate inclusiveness, as do our schools. We need to make sure that these programs that might happen on a Saturday morning are felt and evidenced throughout the week and not just something that's only ghettoized to the weekend. Personal growth, because we know the learning of other languages brings many other social, intercultural skills that are very important. and career enhancement. Knowing more languages gives people more career opportunities in the future. So ILEA has designated those pillars that we kind of promote the programs through. ILEA also on their website has a lot of different resource materials that we've tried to produce for the teachers, keeping in mind again that it's different in our situation for a professional association. We're there to assist the teachers, but contrary to many other professional associations in this kind of field, all of our instructors are paid by school districts. So the communities are not having to find the resources to pay for physical space, nor to pay for their instructors to teach on a Saturday morning, for example. Recently, we just released a document called International Understanding Tasks for the Classroom. And I certainly encourage you to take a look at it. You can download all of our documents without being a member. Um, Also, ILEA does many other events, such as the European Day of Languages and so forth. And beyond the Twitter feed for ILEA, we also manage the Language Alliance. The Language Alliance is something ILEA started in order to have English as a second language, French as a second language, and international language teachers work together in order to promote the benefits of language learning and to advocate for all of our programs. Again, as I mentioned, this is an association. Everyone works together. But at the same time, each association has different school districts as part of it. We have 100 plus school districts that run international languages programs in the province of Ontario, and they're all united through our association, sharing of best practices and so forth. But again, any school district, this happens to be the one for Ottawa Carleton District School Board, will show you where the programs are on a Saturday morning in most cases for us, when they take place, and so on, the kind of languages that were offered, and so on. So basically, there's the elementary program and the secondary languages program, which are offered through continuing education. Students can receive up to 3 credits for a language other than our official languages towards their high school diploma. In some areas of Ontario that are much more populated, like the Greater Toronto Area, you will see programs such as extended day programs or integrated programs. We have some schools in the Toronto area where the third language is brought into the day school. In other words, let's say Arabic, Spanish, Portuguese might be offered to every student in that school for half an hour per day, along with English and French. We don't do as many dual language programs or bilingual programs because of the reality of English and French. For us, the only bilingual programs that are done in our schools are English and French. So therefore, introducing a third language means it has to be in an integrated extended day format, and the funding is for 2.5 hours a week, whether it be after school or whether it be integrated into the day program. And just for curiosity, for example, here in Ottawa as the capital with Quebec next to us, about 80 some percent of our students choose immersion, French immersion, rather than what we call core French, which is daily French. So again, our programs in Ontario, mandated by the province. It's the law. If a community requests it with 20 students, although most school boards will do it with less, they have to provide the program, have to give support to the teachers. And ILEA is that body that unites everyone involved with these programs across Ontario in order to have good training available for teachers, advocacy, promotion of the program, and so forth. I hope that we get more of a chance to talk at the convention. Thank you for listening to me, and we will see you again soon.